Hi guys, Crafty Kim here with 3 Dollar Tree Easter DIYs. I really hope you enjoy these projects as much as I did, and please make sure to like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy the video. These are all products I already had on hand from previous purchases I made at Dollar Tree. The products for this first project are this bunny from Dollar Tree, this bamboo wreath, it's the 12-inch, and then an assortment of flowers that you want to use for the wreath. I'm showing you what I used, and I did use some boxwood from Walmart. And I'll also be using this twine from Dollar Tree, and throughout the video I'll show you the different paints we'll be using for each project. So you want to remove all the tinsel from the bunny, and I found the easiest way to do this was just to keep cutting it with the scissors and also remove the cardboard from the ears. And now just using some wire cutters, I'm separating the ears from the head. You can save the head for another project. It kind of reminds me of a pumpkin. And I'm just going to make this 2 separate ears. So now with the colored truffle, I'm just giving each ear a coat of paint, and I do end up cutting off those center bars through the ears so we can apply the twine. So now just taking some hot glue, I'm going to add the twine. I did cut a smaller bundle from the twine just so it would be easier to go inside the ear, and I wrap this around the entire ear. I do this a couple times just to give it a nice thick layer. And as you can see, it makes quite a mess, but it's totally worth it. So I just made sure I lined up my ears where I wanted them, and I added some hot glue to the ears and then pressed the wreath onto the ears, and I just waited a few seconds for the hot glue to dry. For extra stability, I took some of the twine and just tied it around the inside of the ear to the wreath so that it would be a lot more sturdy. And I lined up the flowers I wanted to use before I glued them in, and now just taking some hot glue, I'm going to add them into the wreath. Now just using some more twine, I'm going to make a little hanger for the back of the wreath, and I just add some hot glue and then put some hot glue over the twine as well, just so I know it stays on there good. And this is what it looks like when all the flowers are done being put together. And I want your opinion. I did end up hanging this without the welcome sign, but I thought it looked pretty cute with the welcome sign as well. So if you could leave in the comments below whether you would leave the welcome sign or not, just let me know. I would love to hear your opinion. For our second project, you'll need this wooden bunny from Dollar Tree. And I picked up this arrow sign from Dollar Tree. I do know they also have this in the craft section, I believe. Mine didn't have it, so I just used this arrow instead. And then you'll need 2 paint sticks. I got this from a package of 10 at Home Depot. And then just 1 piece of any scrapbook paper of your choice. I thought it was pretty fitting to use cotton since we're doing a cottontail bunny. And then also just some Mod Podge to attach that paper to your bunny. So I applied 1 layer of Mod Podge to the bunny, and then once that was done, I cut around the edges. Unfortunately, I did not let this dry long enough, so it did tear a little bit. So I do suggest letting it dry fully before cutting that off. And then I did add another layer of Mod Podge over the top of the paper. For the arrow sign, you want to remove the rope and then just remove as much paper as you can from the front. I did end up sanding the arrow before painting it, and we are going to be using White by Waverly to give this a coat of paint. I did end up giving it 2 coats. So using any acrylic black paint, I'm using Apple Barrel. I'm going to give the back of the bunny a coat of this black paint, and then using a wet wipe, I go around the edges to give it a more distressed look. And I had forgotten to remove the hangers, so I just did that. And now I'm just going to give the arrow the same coat of black paint, and then also paint both of our paint sticks in the color black as well. Now using the color Steel by Waverly, I'm just giving the arrow a dry brush effect for a more aged look. So back in the day, I used to make a lot of wooden signs, and this is how I would do the writing on every sign. Is I would just trace the word over the wood that I was doing this for. This time it didn't really work, so I had to use the pencil trace method, where you just scribble pencil on the back of the paper and then it shows up on your sign. Worked out really well, and I didn't have a very good Sharpie marker, so I decided to paint this by hand, and it actually turned out pretty good. As you can see, I decided to add some little bunny paw prints to each side of the words. So this step is probably not necessary, but I just love using tools and wanted to use this saw again. I just wanted to cut it at an angle so that when I go to stick it into the ground, it does go in a little bit easier, but I do think it would stick into the ground without doing that step. And now I'm just taking 3 cotton balls and gluing them together to put on the bunny as its fluffy tail. So now just lining up where I want my bunny to be and the sign as well. I am using hot glue. I would recommend using wood glue for this if you do plan on having it outside, just so it's a little more sturdy. I just used hot glue for recording purposes. And here it is all finished. Oh my God, you guys, this is so cute. I really love how this turned out. It's probably my favorite DIY of today's video. I am definitely going to spray this with a protectant spray. So if I do decide to keep it outside, it will last a little bit longer, but you could certainly put it in a planter on a covered porch, or in my case right now, it is inside my house. I just think it turned out super cute, and I hope you like it as much as I do. So for the final project, my mom had given me this sugar mold unfinished, and I decided to do an Easter project with it with using this grass from Dollar Tree and then this 6-pack of speckled eggs. I also ended up using the metal word Easter from the 3-pack you get from Dollar Tree. So first, I'm just giving the entire thing a coat of white Waverly chalk paint. Then I took it outside and sanded it down for a more distressed look. And now using the antique wax, I'm adding a stripe around the entire thing because it was already sort of there to begin with, just to give it a different look. And I decided to use some of that antique wax to put around the rest of it as well, and then just wiping off any excess to give it a more aged feel. Then I decided just to take some more of the white and do a dry brush over the antique wax. Now just taking that grass, I'm going to add it to all 5 of the holes, and you could use Spanish moss for this as well. I might actually change it out to Spanish moss after Easter. I just didn't have enough Spanish moss on hand to do it this time around. I decided to leave the eggs as is because I liked that they were Easter colors, but I might paint these white and just leave them as regular eggs in the future. I just added a little spot of hot glue at the bottom of the egg to keep them in place. And here's what it looks like all finished, and I need your opinion again. Do you like it without the Easter sign or with the Easter sign? I decided to leave it on, and I do like it now for Easter, but it can easily be removed. I really hope you enjoyed these 3 DIYs. I had a great time doing these for you, and I hope everyone has a great day and is staying safe and healthy.